Hi everybody, welcome to today's writing lesson. Our learning challenge today is I can use conjunctions. Conjunctions are the words, in year one they are the words and, but, so and because. They always come in the middle of our sentence, so they won't come anywhere near the full stop at the end or the capital letter at the beginning of our sentence. They'll always be in the middle. So and, but, so and because are used to join two ideas. So we will write down one idea or one clause, then have a conjunction, then the other idea or the other clause. In year one, we start with focusing on and. So if you want to just work on using the word and in the middle of your sentence today and make sure you only use it once per sentence, that is absolutely fine. And then there are but, because and so, which are a little bit trickier to use and have different rules, and you can have a go at using whichever ones you can think of some good ideas to write sentences about. So it is completely up to you which conjunctions you would like to choose to use. So and joins two clauses or two ideas. We'll have one idea, then an and, then another idea, then our full stop. Usually the two ideas or the two clauses are to do with a similar thing when we have and in the middle of them. So they are not about the same thing, but about a similar thing. Next, we might have a go at using the word but. But is when you've got two ideas with a but in the middle and they sort of contrast or disagree. So sometimes one of them is good and one of them is bad. And we've talked about this a few times before in class. For example, with the wolf, we might write, I made a cake. Good, cake is delicious. But I ran out of sugar. Bad, because now I can't make the cake. So but is often when one thing is good and one thing is bad. Because is used to explain why. So the second clause of the sentence, the end of it, tells you why the first part of it happens. And so is the other way around, where the first part of the sentence tells you why the second thing happens, or the first part of the sentence causes the second thing to happen. So one thing happened, so then something else happened. Today you can absolutely concentrate on using and in the middle of your sentence. That's just what we would do in class. A lot of people would be concentrating on just using and. Make sure it only comes once. So if you want to focus on using and just try and, that is absolutely fine. But if you would like to use but, so, or because, that would also be great. So whatever you would like, whatever sentences you can think of will be absolutely fine. Here are some examples that I came up with. I have written, the red-eyed tree frog is colourful so that it can confuse predators. So the reason why it's colourful is so that it can confuse predators. It climbs in the trees and it has an incredible jumping ability. So that's a nice and sentence. It just tells me two things that the tree frog can do. It climbs in the trees and it has an incredible jumping ability, full stop. Next up, it has sticky webbed feet so that it can grip onto trees. So that tells me why the sticky webbed feet are there. The sticky webbed feet are there so that it can grip onto the trees. The African elephant is endangered because its habitat is being destroyed. The African elephant is endangered because its habitat is being destroyed. So this sentence is telling me that the elephant is endangered, and then it's telling me why, because its habitat is being destroyed. And finally, the macaque's body is covered in yellow feathers, but it has very little feathers on its face. So this isn't quite one good, one bad, like a lot of our but sentences are, but this is one of the best ones that I could think of from the information that we've been given about our animals. The body is covered in yellow feathers. The body has lots of feathers on, but it has very little feathers on its face, so they're sort of opposites. Its body has lots of feathers, its face doesn't have really any feathers. They're opposites, which is why but goes in the middle. These conjunctions are quite tricky to use and they do make your sentences quite long. So just keep persevering and just try your best at these. We are going to be writing some fact sentences today. So like the fact sentences that we wrote on Monday, we are going to be writing some more fact sentences but trying to incorporate our conjunctions into them. So have another little read of the information and see if you can join any of those ideas together using a conjunction to make your sentence a little bit longer and a little bit snazzier. I'm quickly going to read through the information for you just to remind you. So we know the red-eyed tree frog is this little frog here. It leaps and climbs in the trees. It has webbed feet, and they provide grip because they have little sticky pads on them. It's really impressive at jumping, and is bright coloured, and the reason why it's bright coloured is to confuse the predators. So it sort of flashes them lots of different colours, and they get really confused and they think, what animal even is that? And then the frog escapes while they're being really confused. We looked at the American alligator. It has a tail which propels it, that means pushes it along in the water while it's swimming. It is camouflaged against the reeds and the wetland grasses, because the reeds and the wetland grasses are sort of a dark blacky greeny brown colour, the same colour as the alligator. It has a powerful jaw to bite and grip on prey so that it can't escape. It has a wide round nose to help crack turtle shells, and it can live to be over 80 years old. The blue and yellow macaw is from the woodland in South America. It has white skin and very little feathers on its face, which is why its face looks white. It helps the forest to grow because it's a really messy eater, so it drops seeds all over the floor while it's eating, and those seeds grow into plants. It can mimic human speech, and it has a really powerful beak for cracking nutshells, because cracking nutshells are quite hard to crack on your own. And also it sometimes uses its beak to climb up trees, so sort of as an extra claw. And finally, we looked at the African elephant. It is vulnerable, and that means it is threatened by habitat destruction. It means there aren't many of them left in the wild because humans are destroying its home, which is really sad. It has a long wavy trunk, and that has many uses, including feeding, drinking, smelling, and protecting itself. It is a herbivore, which means it feeds on leaves, grasses, herbs, and bark. It only eats plants, doesn't eat any animals. And it can flap its large ears to keep itself cool, almost to fan itself in the hot African weather. And that is everything. So today we are having a look at using some conjunctions. They are the words and, but, so, and because, and they always come in the middle of your sentence. Like I said earlier, if you want to just concentrate on using and, that is absolutely fine. That would be the first step that we would do in class. But if you want to use some of the trickier ones, but, because, and so, I would love to read your sentences with those conjunctions in as well.